Hello everybody and welcome back to Rated E for Entertainment. Today's video is going to be on The Walking Dead Season 8 Episode 10. My thoughts and my review on it, as I do every week with The Walking Dead. We are back again this week for a new episode that kind of slows it down a bit, which, not last episode wasn't action-packed or anything, but it was, kind of an emotional journey and kind of took a toll on everybody. So it didn't really feel like a slow episode, whereas this episode very, very much felt like a slow episode. We get the opening of this episode with Rick and Michonne they look beaten down, from the death of Carl. They're just kind of, through the beginning of this episode, there's no really talking, they're just so broken and so beaten down, and I loved it. And then, seeing Alexandria becoming kind of overrun was awesome. I loved seeing that. I loved the look of Alexandria this episode, how it was so broken and just burnt, and all the buildings were. I loved the look of it. It looked incredible. I loved it. Eventually we get to learn that Carl, they have all the notes that Carl wrote, and we learn that Carl wrote a letter to Negan as well, so we don't know what that's going to be. Eventually Rick and Michonne, Rick wants to go back to the trash people to talk to them and kind of get them on his side again, which we'll see throughout this episode that doesn't really work out that well. Also, throughout this episode, we get, title cards for characters that are kind of prominent in the episode. First it was Michonne, then it was Negan, then Enid, then Simon, then Rick. I don't know what that's about. Maybe if it was just kind of like a callback to something that maybe a reference to or something. So I don't know, maybe we'll see more of that in the next episode and we'll learn what they're about. And then we get to see Negan, and he wants to keep the trash people kind of on the hook. He wants to keep them with them. Whereas Simon wants to kill them all. He wants to, they triple cost him. He doesn't want them around. He just wants them. He wants to cut his losses. And throughout that scene, I really loved between Negan and Simon just how opposing Negan is compared to Simon. It was just really well done, great acting, and I loved it. Eventually, Negan gets the message from Maggie, the guy that Maggie killed, and eventually, Simon is still like, well, let me just kill them all too. Simon this episode just wants to kill all, he just wants to cut their losses and just wants to kill them all. Which it kind of makes sense, but then throughout this episode we get to see Negan's kind of like, he wants to save these people, he doesn't want to kill them all, he's kind of still, a human at heart, whereas Simon's just kind of in this world, whereas Negan's kind of, there's a part of him that kind of wants to grow the world and kind of keep things going. So I really like that about Negan this episode. Next we get to see Oceanside imprisoning Enid and Aaron, who went there, and Enid killed the grandmother. And now the grandmother's granddaughter, I believe, is Sydney. I don't know her real name. I believe it's Sydney. Wants to kill them, but then Enid kind of talks her out of it, and kind of lets them go. But they're not going to fight with them. That's the whole reason Aaron wanted to go there. He wants to see if they want to fight with them. And the thing about this is, too, eventually Aaron wants to convince them, to fight with them, but Enid, kind of is like, they're not going to. Eventually Enid leaves, and Aaron wants to stay and try and convince them. But my whole thing with the Oceanside stuff is the whole back and forth, will they, won't they, it's just dragging the show on, honestly. It's wasting a lot of time for the show, and it's kind of dumb. If they are, then, just make them, for the writer's sake, just write away that they're going to fight. This is like the 5th time that we've been to Oceanside asking them, will you fight? Oh, no, we're not going to fight. It's just becoming annoying and stupid. Eventually the Saviors, Simon, go to the garbage people, And this is before Rick goes. And they take their weapons. And maybe there was a hint that maybe the trash people were more than just trash people. I really like that. Eventually, Simon kills two of them. Jadis then punches him, and then he kills them all except Jadis. So Jadis is the only one alive from the trash people now. Um, Eventually, Rick and Michonne find Jadis. There's a bunch of walkers there now because of what Simon did. Eventually, Rick and Michonne get out of there and leave her behind. In a very dragged on scene where she's kind of like seeing all of her trash people, and she eventually traps all of the walkers and kills them all. But it's just, nobody really cares about Jadis, nobody really cares about the trash people, so to have that scene drag on that long was just kind of ridiculous. Eventually, Rick, who's still just broken, great acting, has to stop on the side of the road, just kind of take a breather, and talks to Negan because he reads Negan's letter, Carl's letter to Negan. So he eventually walkie-talkies to Negan in a fantastic end of the episode scene with their kind of back and forth, where Negan's kind of just, you can see, I love the emotion with Negan about Carl. It was just fantastic acting, and I loved it. And he wasn't really wrong talking to Rick. He wasn't really saying anything that was too wrong, and I really enjoyed that. Rick eventually still wants to kill Negan. He still wants to end him. He doesn't care what Carl, thought or whatever. But eventually I feel like Rick is going to come around and, not kill Negan. But we'll see where this season goes so far. Like I said, a pretty slow episode overall. I'm excited to see what's next. Like I said, the ending scene in this episode was fantastic. I loved it. And I'm very excited to see what this season has to offer moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. It helps out so much. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @rated_E_4_entertainment, and on Twitter @rated_E1. The Flash is tomorrow night, and Thor Ragnarok comes out on Blu-ray tomorrow. I plan on getting that and putting up a video for you guys, so be on the lookout for more videos to come, and I will catch you guys in the next one.